Here we go. Hello, friends. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. My name's Tami Simon. I'm the founder of Sounds True, and it's my joy and my honor to welcome you to this special webinar on spiritual friendship, the joy and nourishment that comes from fellowship on the path. I'm here with two of the most beloved, most creative and generative meditation teachers of our time, Jack Kornfield and Tara Brach. With Sounds True, Jack and Tara, we've all been looking at what are the ways we can deepen real connection, real co-journeying together using the online medium. And I wanted right here at the very top of our time together to share with you two follow-up resources that are available to you. One is that Jack and Tara have created something called Cloud Sangha, and there's a group, it's called the Mindful Friends Group. It's available on Cloud Sangha, and during the first 2 weeks in May, you can freely check out via an open house what it's like to participate in a mindful friends group at Cloud Sangha. And you'll find the link. We'll be putting the link in the chat. It's also on the player page and it's in the notes in YouTube. And then the second resource that's available to you is that Jack and Tara have partnered with Sounds True to create a program. Maybe you've heard about it. It's called the Power of Awareness Online Training. It has a very strong community section, community mentoring. It's 21 hours of teachings designed to help you, yes, find friends on the spiritual path and also develop a mindfulness meditation practice. And you can also find the links for that in the chat, under the player page, and in the YouTube notes. And with that, let's get started. To begin, Jack, can you help us all fully arrive here with the welcoming meditation?
With pleasure, Tami. Thank you. And hi, everyone. I'm also really happy that we get to do this and that we get to be together. So let's start with just 2 or 3 minutes of meditation. If you will, let yourself settle, feel your seat, and relax into just where you are, present, grounded, easy. And if you're comfortable, let your eyes close. And begin by taking 2 long breaths in and out. And with each breath, drop into a stillness of presence. A stillness underneath all the things around you. A centeredness and presence. And feel the pleasure of just stopping and being. And sense your breath and how your body breathes itself. In fact, how the earth is breathing you. The earth is breathing your breaths. And feel how you are interbreathing with each breath. With the trees around you that take your carbon dioxide and turn it into oxygen. They're breathing with you. And how you're breathing with all the creatures of the earth. The raccoons and the deer in the forests and the earthworms. In each breath, you exchange this breath life. And relax into it. Relax into a sense of trust that you are connected with life, that you are life. Breathing itself. being alive together. And feel the joy of this. The joy of all beings breathing. And the joy of connection with them. Thank you.
Thanks, Jack, for this exploration of spiritual friendship. I have some questions that I'm going to ask Jack and Tara, but I imagine you may have some questions as well. And I'd like to invite your participation. You can write your questions in the chat if you're here with us in Zoom. And you can also, under reactions, raise your hand, the hand raise function. And during the second half of our time together, we'll incorporate as many participant questions as we can. Let's start, Jack and Tara, looking at what some people are calling an epidemic of loneliness. I think many of us can sense it, whether it's in our own experience or it's people close to us, it's a neighbor, a family member, a coworker, more and more people who seem to be really suffering from a sense of isolation and disconnection. In your view, what are the root causes of this epidemic of loneliness in our time?
Well, I'm glad to start in, and I also want to add my welcome because it really matters to me that you all are drawn to this. It just feels like such an important inquiry, both the epidemic of loneliness and how we wake up from separation and feel connection. And it feels like to me that there's this tendency to take loneliness personally, and it's not an individual mental health problem. And so it's really important to actually think of it as a collective crisis because we take things personally. And in some big way, suffering happens when we forget our belonging to one another. We're social creatures, or, we're evolved to survive and thrive because of our capacity to nurture, to collaborate. So this epidemic of loneliness, it's associated with heart disease. It literally breaks our heart when we don't feel connected. And okay, so the causes, a lot of people say, oh, well, the pandemic, we got more isolated. Our, technology cuts out some of the real energetic contact. And that's, of course, true. But the thing that's really most getting my attention is how much and this is over decades, we have become increasingly focused on the individual versus the community. Some people call it the atomization of society. And just to think of how much emphasis we put on privacy, private space, personal property. It's like the sense of pride comes from those things, the right to profit, it's capitalism, rather than the values of the heart, that who we are together and what the collective needs are. And so I've been looking into this, and participation in live community, it's declining on every front. It's churches, civic organizations, PTA unions, socializing with neighbors. People don't often know their neighbors, and more people are living alone. And as we know, work, which for a long time was the place to connect, now is remote, online for so many. So I'm just naming this because, I think of teens that how much is showing this growing anxiety and depression underneath that loneliness, that they spend more than 8 hours a day on screen, not connecting. So the point is, because I know I'm going on here, in a society that's stressing individuality, we've lost sight of that sense of the sacred that really comes forward when we feel communion, community, connection, the love and the beauty and the goodness of that. And everything is showing that that is the suffering right now, that it's, the Harvard study on happiness, it's all about relationship. So it feels like, again, so good that this is what we're focusing on. And sorry to be going on and on so much.
Jack, would you like to add something to that? Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Jack.
So yeah, thank you for that, Tara. I want to add a couple of other things. When I look at you on the screen, the image that comes to me, I'm about to go spend a few weeks with my 4-year-old grandson, Desmond, and we'll be walking along, and he naturally wants to hold my hand. It's such a fantastic thing to hold the hand of a little kid like that. And the thing is, it's very tender. We want that with one another. I mean, I wish I could hold your hands, actually. And even in starting that meditation, the game of spiritual practice is to shift from the illusion of separation, what's called the separate self, or even the body of fear, and to remember or sense that we're part of the whole. Both nourishes us and awakens us, and it gives a whole different dimension of freedom and well-being. So I feel that even in seeing you, yes, there's the loneliness and the longing, and we can use our tools, but I think it's important just to go in the heart and feel that longing and honor it, because it empowers us actually to reach out, even though the society has now created more barriers.
One thread I'd like to pick up on, Tara, you mentioned how when we're feeling lonely, we think it's some personal, individual deficit. This is, my problem, my mental health problem, and we don't see necessarily the collective causes. What do you think are some of the solutions that as individuals we can say, oh, here's how I'm going to join with other people as a solution? It's not just up to me to solve my loneliness problem all by myself in my house. I'm going to have to take a different approach.
Well, I'll start in. I think part of the challenge of loneliness is that when it becomes a habit, it gets harder and harder to then reach out and say, okay, I'm going to be part of something. But there are ways that we can, if we have a bit of like a sense like this really matters to me. I mean, that's the first step, is to sense that, end of my life looking back, what matters is connection. It's what Jack was saying, that I can hold the hand of another being and really feel closeness. And so when there's that intention there, I'm thinking of Vivek Murthy, who's our Surgeon General, who says, just say that for 15 minutes a day, you will reach out beyond your people you live with, if you live with anyone. Just 15 minutes a day, to have the intention in those 15 minutes to wherever you're participating, to actually listen deeply. I mean, to really, really listen. There's some intimacy that happens when we really listen, to have a commitment when we're with others, to stretch ourselves, to say more what's real for us. It's like Adrienne Rich says, that real love really comes forward depending on the level of truths, the depths of truths we can tell each other. So I'm just naming a few things. Jack and I will go more into the different kinds of informal and formal ways we can get together with others, but there's a kind of beginning of knowing this matters to me, to stretch and engage more.